You can be better than yesterday, one day at a time. Let's get straight to the point. You wake up every morning with grand plans. You're going to hit the gym for an hour, read that book you've been putting off, finally organize your workspace, and maybe even learn that new skill you've been talking about for months. But by the end of the day, you've accomplished maybe one of these things, if you're lucky. Sound familiar? You're not alone in this struggle. Most of us live in a constant cycle of setting ambitious goals and then feeling defeated when we can't maintain them. We beat ourselves up for lacking willpower or motivation, but here's the thing. The problem isn't you. The problem is your approach. Today, I want to share something that completely changed how I tackle my daily goals. It's a method so simple that it almost sounds too good to be true, yet it's incredibly powerful. I call it the mini habits approach, and it's going to revolutionize how you think about productivity and personal growth. But first, let me tell you a story that might sound eerily similar to your own experiences. A couple of years back, I decided I wanted to start meditating regularly. I'd heard all the benefits: reduced stress, better focus, improved emotional regulation. I was sold. So I made myself a promise: 20 minutes of meditation every single day, no exceptions. The first week went pretty well. I was motivated, energized, ready to transform my life through mindfulness. But then reality hit. Some days I'd look at my schedule and think, I only have 15 minutes before my next meeting. That's not enough time for a proper meditation session. So I'd skip it entirely. Other days I'd be exhausted after work, and the thought of sitting still for 20 whole minutes felt overwhelming. Again, I'd skip it. Before I knew it, I was meditating maybe once or twice a week, feeling guilty every single day I missed. The worst part? I'd try to compensate by telling myself I'd do 40 minutes the next day to make up for lost time. Spoiler alert, that never happened either. This pattern continued for months until I finally realized something crucial. My expectations were sabotaging my success. I was so focused on doing meditation perfectly that I was barely doing it at all. That's when everything clicked. Instead of aiming for 20 minutes, what if I aimed for just 2 minutes? Just 2 tiny minutes that I could squeeze in anywhere, anytime, no matter how busy or tired I was. The results were immediate and surprising. Not only could I easily commit to 2 minutes every day, but something magical started happening. Once I began those 2 minutes, I often found myself continuing for much longer. Sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 10, and yes, sometimes even the full 20 minutes I'd originally wanted. The key wasn't having more willpower or motivation. The key was making the barrier to entry so low that it became impossible to fail. This is the essence of mini habits. They're not about lowering your standards or accepting mediocrity. They're about understanding human psychology and working with your brain instead of against it. Think about it this way. When you set a massive goal like exercising for an hour every day, your brain immediately starts calculating all the obstacles. Where will you find the time? What if you're tired? What if something comes up? Your subconscious begins building resistance before you even start. But when your goal is to do just one push-up, your brain can't find any reasonable excuses. One push-up takes 30 seconds. Anyone can find 30 seconds. There's no mental resistance because the commitment is so minimal. Here's where it gets interesting. Once you've done that one push-up, you've already broken the inertia. You're already in motion. And objects in motion tend to stay in motion. More often than not, you'll find yourself doing a few more push-ups, maybe even a full workout. But even if you don't, even if you literally just do that one push-up and stop, you've still succeeded. You've kept your commitment to yourself. You've maintained the habit. And that consistency, that daily success, builds momentum in ways you might not expect. The beauty of this approach extends far beyond individual habits. When you start proving to yourself that you can keep small commitments consistently, your confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself more. That trust becomes the foundation for bigger changes and more ambitious goals. I've applied this principle to virtually every area of my life. Reading 1 page of a book per day, writing 1 paragraph, practicing piano for 3 minutes, organizing just my desk, not my entire room. Each mini habit seemed almost laughably small, yet together they've created profound changes in my daily routine and overall productivity. The secret isn't in the size of the habit itself. The secret is in the consistency and the psychological momentum it creates. Now, let me break down exactly how to implement mini habits in your own life, because understanding the concept is one thing, but actually making it work is where most people stumble. The first step is identifying what you're currently avoiding or procrastinating on. Maybe it's that business idea you keep putting off, or the exercise routine you never seem to start, or the creative project that's been collecting dust in the back of your mind. Whatever it is, write it down. Next comes the crucial part, shrinking it down to something ridiculously small. And I mean ridiculously small. If your goal is to write a book, your mini habit becomes writing one sentence per day. If you want to learn a language, commit to learning just one new word. If you want to start a business, spend just 5 minutes researching your market. I know what you're thinking. One sentence won't write a book. One word won't make you fluent. 5 minutes won't build an empire. And you're absolutely right. But here's what you're missing. These tiny actions will do something far more valuable. They'll rewire your brain to see you as someone who follows through on commitments. Every time you complete your mini habit, you're sending a signal to your subconscious that you're reliable, that you keep your word to yourself. This might sound like motivational fluff, but it's actually based on solid psychology. Our brains are constantly updating our self-image based on our actions, and consistency in small things builds confidence for bigger things. Let me give you a real example of how powerful this can be. I had a friend who wanted to get in shape but kept failing at elaborate workout plans. We scaled it back to doing just 10 jumping jacks every morning. That's it. 10 jumping jacks that took maybe 30 seconds. For the first week, she did exactly 10 jumping jacks and stopped. But by the second week, something shifted. She started adding a few more exercises here and there. Within a month, she was doing full 20-minute workouts most days. The 10 jumping jacks had become the gateway to a complete fitness transformation. But even more importantly, on the days when life got crazy and she only had time for those 10 jumping jacks, she still felt successful. She hadn't broken her streak. Her identity as someone who exercises daily remained intact. This is where most traditional approaches fail. They're all or nothing. Miss one day of your hour-long workout and you feel like a failure. Miss a week and you might give up entirely. But with mini habits, you never have to miss a day because the commitment is so small that even your worst day can accommodate it. The science behind this is fascinating. When we attempt difficult tasks, our brain's resistance center lights up like a Christmas tree. It starts generating every possible excuse and obstacle. But when tasks are extremely easy, this resistance barely activates. We slip past our brain's defense mechanisms and into action. There's another psychological principle at play here called the Zeigarnik effect. Once we start something, our brain wants to complete it. This creates a natural pull toward continuation. By making the start so easy, we're hijacking this psychological tendency to our advantage. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing you've been putting off and shrink it down to something laughably small, something so tiny that you can't possibly fail at it. Then commit to doing it every single day for the next week. Don't worry about building momentum or expanding the habit yet. Just focus on showing up consistently. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. And sometimes the smallest steps lead to the biggest transformations. Your future self will thank you for starting today, no matter how small that start might be. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll dive even deeper into optimizing your mental performance. Click the like button and subscribe to the channel for more.